right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I have for you guys today, let's start with a physique update from none other than JujiMufu himself. As a lot of you guys probably know, Juji is preparing for his first ever bodybuilding competition, which happens to be the Olympia Amateur, which is the week of the Olympia, and I believe Juji's specific competition, I think bodybuilding is October 6th, which I believe is Wednesday, so a couple days before the actual Pro Olympia happens, kind of in the middle of the week prior. So I think that puts him around 6-ish, 7-ish weeks out from that competition. As far as determining how he's looking relative to how much time he has left, that gives you a little bit of an idea on how far out this video is filmed. But I think it's pretty cool that Juji is doing the Olympia Amateur. It's certainly a pretty prestigious amateur show and probably a really competitive one for somebody that's never competed in bodybuilding at any level at all prior to this. This is his first entry ever into bodybuilding. Of course, prior to this, he was prepping for the Arnold Classic Amateur. I believe that was the 2021. The 2020 Arnold, not the 2021 Arnold. The 2020 space one. But of course, that show wound up getting canceled because of the virus, and now the 2021 Arnold Classic was obviously postponed to September, which is just a few weeks away. So just wanted to give you guys that little update on Juji if you guys have been following his bodybuilding journey and are looking forward to seeing him on stage for the first time. I know I am. It's always cool to see these crossovers from powerlifting to strongman to arm wrestling to YouTuber to bodybuilding. This kind of stuff is interesting and fun to follow. And I think it's kind of cool that Juji took my recommendation. The Olympia Amateur was one of the shows I recommended he compete in. So, of course, I just want to see him do well. Now, next up in the news, a motivational post and pretty damn impressive physique update from the man, the myth, the CBum himself. So first I'll start with the obvious, the physique update itself, assuming this is recent. It looks to be recent based on some of the updates that we've seen from him in the past couple weeks that he confirmed were recent. And it honestly almost feels redundant at this point every time I include a Chris Bumstead physique update because it's kind of the same thing every time. And really, there's nothing to criticize. I mean, that's how good Chris is. And I know I say this over and over again, but when we see an update from Chris Bumstead, there's nothing really to nitpick. There's nothing to critique. There's nothing to tell him to bring up. Really, the main thing, well, there was two things. The biceps in the back. And we know that for the 2020 Mr. Olympia, he made like ridiculous improvements to his back development. The density, the detail, all of it. I mean, it was crazy the improvements that he made to his back. His biceps is a little bit more of a genetic thing, just the shape of the peaks of his biceps in general. That might be hard for him to actually improve. But when he posts these physique updates, it's like, dude, save some aesthetic for the rest of us. So yeah, naturally, my reaction to the physique updates itself, which is what a lot of you guys were asking me, it looks ridiculous. I mean, Chris always looks ridiculous. A couple things that stood out to me. His quads look giant in this update. He looks like he's in good shape. And I guess at this point, like I said, we're about 7-ish weeks out from the Olympia. He just looks big to me here. He looks big. He looks full. Now let's get to the motivational part of this status, because really Chris Bumstead has become a little bit of an idol of sorts to the aesthetic TikTok bro generation. So I think a lot of people related to what he said in this status here. So I'll read it for you. When I first switched over to classic physique, I was a shitty poser and a classic broke college student. I couldn't afford big fancy mirrors to practice, but luckily I found someone throwing away some old mirrored closet doors. I snagged them and set them up in my bedroom. I pushed all the furniture in my corner, put my headphones on, and taught myself how to pose by practicing every day. Fast forward a few Olympias later, and it felt like it was only right to order some closet doors and continue to perfect what I was just learning back in 2016. I honestly never imagined I would end up where I am. I was just taking it one step at a day and enjoying every second of it. From that kid who should have been studying for exams, posing in his college room, to stepping on the Mr. Olympia stage for the 5th time, I am so grateful for every moment and opportunity that has led me to where I am today. It's a damn beautiful life. So I thought that was a cool post. I thought it was a pretty motivational and relatable post to a lot of the following that bodybuilding, specifically classic physique, seems to have garnered as a younger generation, a younger audience, college and high school age kids. And I think this is a really good message that he's kind of sending out here. Is your life can change for the better so quickly, from being a college student to being Mr. Olympia with millions of followers. And I mean, things can happen really fast. I felt the same way as Chris, but to a much lesser degree, obviously. Well, from graduating college to the next year being a full-time YouTuber with hundreds of thousands of subscribers a year later. So I guess the moral of the story is don't give up on your dreams and don't be discouraged if you're not where you want to be just right this second, because sometimes it's unpredictable and unexpected. Now, next up in the news, a physique update from another Mr. Olympia champion, Brandon Curry. It's that time of year, folks. We're starting to see more physique updates from these top guys as they get closer to the top show and the top prize in bodybuilding, and Brandon Curry is no exception to that. We're seeing a lot more of Brandon and a lot more recent shots of Brandon. Now, this was a shot for a Gorilla Wear promo that he was posting, but I believe it is recent because the post that his coach Abdullah put up and swore to be recent, Brandon has pretty much the exact same beard in that update. I'll put these side by side. But Brandon looks crazy here. And this is kind of the thing that got Brandon on the map even before he won the Olympia. As if you guys remember, the couple years, I want to say 2017, 2018 were two of the big years for Brandon where he was posting these crazy updates going into the Olympia and got a lot of people talking because he looked so good in these gym pictures. He looked so improved and round and full and grainy and vascular, and people weren't really expecting that comeback from Brandon. It was these updates that kind of got the momentum rolling for Brandon. If you guys remember that era, I want to say it was 2017, 2018, prior to him winning. Some of those updates got pretty much the whole bodybuilding world talking, and I think this is going to be a similar thing because I think he's looking pretty impressive. So what do you guys think we're going to see from Brandon this year? Second place at last year's Olympia, second to the mass monster himself, Big Ramy. Beating Phil Heath, which I think is a very important point to make. Just because Brandon didn't successfully defend his title, he won in 19, came in second in 2020, it doesn't mean he didn't have a successful showing at the Olympia last year. He beat Phil Heath, which I want to remind people is something that almost the entire bodybuilding industry said he couldn't do. People were saying that Brandon only won because Phil wasn't there. So Brandon was still at the top of the pack in beating all the top guys and was beaten only by the best version of Big Ramy we've ever seen on a professional bodybuilding stage. So I think Brandon might be a guy that's getting overlooked going into this Olympia because people think the reign of Ramy has begun. But I just want to remind people, Brandon has improved consistently from year to year, from show to show. Even though he's getting older, he's getting consistently better. And he looks better in these updates. And if he looks better this year at the Olympia than he looked last year, why are we to say that he couldn't win the title this year? Especially when we don't know if Phil is competing. We don't know. Well, it looks like Sean Roden's probably not. We don't have any reason to believe that Brandon can't beat Ramy this year. And I think that's what makes it interesting. Two very different physiques. Brandon is all about flow. He's all about having a great structure, conditioning, an aesthetically appealing physique, posing, beautiful. Ramy is all about mass, just wow factor, shock value. Two very different bodybuilders and two very good in their own individual niche. As far as mass monsters go, Ramy is about as good as it gets. And as far as an aesthetically pleasing men's open bodybuilder that still has size, conditioning, roundness, muscle maturity, comes in full, doesn't come in flat, Brandon Curry is like the master of elegance on a men's open stage. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, a powerlifting story, because today is a big day in powerlifting for another reason, but we'll get to that later. So Payman Mahari, but he just posted a video on his Instagram. There's two different deadlifts in this video that are very impressive. One was 450 kgs raw, but the other one, 492 kg deadlift, which I believe is the highest deadlift behind Hafthor Bjornsson's 501 kg. That's not a world record. So Eddie Hall with the 500 kgs, that was a world record. So I believe this 492 is the highest deadlift and the closest deadlift to the 501 kg deadlift. Even at the World Deadlift Championships, a week ago, no one came this close. So this is incredibly impressive, and I wanted to include this in this video because also today, at the time that I'm recording this video, it hasn't happened yet, but Julius Maddox will be attempting the 800-pound raw bench press at Wrigley Stadium, I think at like 7 p.m. or something, so several hours after this video is uploaded. So we won't know the result when this video is posted, but we will be covering it tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned to the channel. But make sure you guys tune in. Wish Julius some luck. That attempt is happening today. All the details are on his most recent Instagram post, where you can watch it, what time you can watch it, all that good stuff. But show him some support and love in the comments. And that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet already. Hit that bell notification icon. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out.